Good morning, my colleagues within Government of Canada and anyone else who is joining us later, maybe watching this video recorded. So today we have our second session dedicated to developing packages. Now, my name is Dmitry'd, so I will be your host as usual, and normally I'm trying to engage everyone to participate in this experience sharing opportunity, but also it's opportunity to socialize and to have some fun. And normally to test the quality of our video or audio, I'm starting with a little tune, which will be the tune for today. Okay. Now I'll be talking at the same time because you know why? Last time. So unfortunately, that's what happens here. So, but the song is called Come Together, and last time we played a song called Please Mr. Postman. And when I uploaded it to YouTube was smart enough to actually to recognize the audio clip as Beatles, and it asked me to remove it. So I was thinking, oh, that's a quite neat AI algorithm which takes my audio and recognizes it as the audio of Beatles. So, and this time I decided to trick it. I decided to trick by talking at the same time, but my computer actually is tricking itself because it's not playing it. So maybe at some point it will be played again. But you know, it's about data science as well. How the algorithms work to detect or recognize a song which is a collection of frequencies. Essentially, it's a time series. Very interesting time series. It's a time series with at least 12, maybe, or actually that's a separate topic. What is the sample rate of audio? But then we have different frequencies, and the program will recognize the sound. So unfortunately, it didn't work for me, but you know what could be coming. I have my another guitar right there. So maybe by the end of the session, I'll try to do it just myself. The song can come together. And you know why? Because I'm trying to bring people together here. So last time we were talking about packages. So the song was called Mr. Postman, Please Mr. Postman. And this time it's this one. So I will start sharing the screen as I always do. And we'll recap a few things which have happened since last time. Okay, I hope you can see my screen now. Okay. So these were two repositories which we were playing with last time. In one of them, we started writing the codes for the package. And the other one is where we keep a collection of all useful stuff. And it is not supposed to be organized. It is even not supposed to be compilable or clean. This is just all good, useful stuff which various individuals or agencies have contributed. Like, for example, our colleague from Treasury Board has contributed codes to analyze ATIP requests, to visualize them, to detect topics, to do some topic extraction and classification there. And you know, we have some R codes, some markdown codes. Let's have a look what other codes have been contributed to our community. Again, many people have done it even as part of a learning process or just for fun. Another one is related to public servant employee survey. I do need to practice it how I pronounce it, PSES. It's difficult to pronounce it very fast. Public Service Employees Survey. So we have a couple of contributions here. One is from our colleague at Canadian Space Agency, who have developed a script to automatically generate reports for their department for Canada Space Agency. And another one which I have developed myself and which have been shown to some of you last year, which develops a web app which automatically can compare results of different directorates. So these are various codes which have been contributed. Now, a lot of effort into this meetup initiative comes into inviting you to use it and to contribute. So there are two ways of doing it, actually 3 ways. The simplest way is if you have any code which you find useful and complex enough, so you spend some time thinking, creative energy was invested into building this code, and you want this code to be used by other people, that's a great idea. So 3 ways for you to make this happen. One is the simplest one, just email it to me or a link to the repository, and I will edit it myself, as I have added here codes for PSES, ATIP, and for example, for analyzing elections also, we can talk about that, or COVID, of course. Now, option number 2, you become a member of this group, R4GC. Send me again email, and you will become a member. And then you will have the same access to this repository, actually not only repository, but all groups and subgroups within R4GC. So currently you will see, if I click on members, I have a number of individuals. I think most of them are from CBSA, and you could be one of them. So then you will have exactly the same editor's rights to this repository, and you can start putting there anything you wish for the use by our community. And I will give you a few examples. So, for example, snippets. I have built over the last 5-7 years, as I've been learning myself, so many different examples of snippets from maybe data camp, from just searching for a particular problem. And I have maybe over, I can tell you, over 50 maybe of those little snippets on my local drive. And why not to just to share them with my colleagues? I would gladly do that. So these are some examples. So for example, I was taking training in data camp on using data table for time series, because at some point I did a lot of research and analysis on forecasting of border wait time, forecasting of traffic, forecasting of weather as example. And data table, as many of you already know, it's the best friend. Actually, the first friend. I have many other friends, including yourself, but data table is my first friend here. So, you know, all useful stuff, I put it there so I can reuse it later. And here you go. Another one is object-oriented programming. Actually, it should be called programming, or OOP, using R6 package. Because again, I'm coming from computer science, and in computer science, you think objects. When you think about the problem, you think about an object describing your problem with all internal variables, with all functions or methods, the way they're called in Python. So, and we'll talk about that as well as we keep developing our packages. A few other examples. For example, at some point, I was wondering how can I make my script executable, so that essentially it could be a bat or executable file, which by clicking, you know, it will open itself and do something. And then, of course, I was doing a lot of work with survey results and analysis, how to best visualize them, you know. So you're very welcome to send me by email any such snippet. It's number one method of contributing. The method number 2, you can just send me email and you'll become a member of this R4GC group. And then you can start adding those things. Try to make names, titles descriptive so that we understand what they are about. You know, some keywords. So just again, like by looking at the names, you can see what they are about. Like, for example, collapsible RMD. It's R Markdown. When I found it's very useful when, you know, in HTML, often you can click on a button and it opens a paragraph or a list. Why not to use it as part of your report? Because your reports sometimes are very long, especially for your clients. You don't want to give all these 100 pages to them and all your results or descriptions. So collapsible code HTML is a nice one. Another one is encrypting files, because, for example, when we work with data, sometimes our data could be they're probably not protected, or they're not even they don't have any privacy issues. But just in case, you still can encrypt them. You can actually assign a password for them and open them knowing the password. So I found it's one of many different tricks and tools which you can do. And again, I invite all of you to contribute and make use of those tools. Now, I have launched last night a poll. So I will show you a few things which have happened since last time. I'm looking at the time also because indeed so many things are happening, and right now today we're really setting just a foundation, a base for what will be happening over the next few weeks. I assume maybe about 10 weeks à peu près. Dizaines ou quelque chose comme ça. So, because we have now a vision is very good here. Again, it's not only my vision, it's a vision of many of us, that we have developed many codes. Why not to build packages out of those codes? So we will, for the next 10 dozen meetups, we will be essentially working collectively on converging all those different codes into a package. Because what is package? Package is a self-contained something useful which you can just give to your colleague or to your community, or maybe to CRAN eventually, and you will provide vignettes with the description, with examples, and anyone will be able to do it. So we have created a new subgroup. I'm just right now I'm inviting you to look at the screen because now we have a lot of new information coming out of our Lunch and Learns. So instead of keeping it as just one discussion within a bigger use group, we have created a new subgroup, and you'll see a post. New series of Lunch and Learns are launched, and it describes that what we will be doing. We will be building again from scratch together with you. And by the way, I'm not the expert in package building. You know, I've done some trivial things from various tutorials, but actually I have not done any major, like real good quality package. So, but luckily we have a few colleagues who have experience, who have good experience, and Joseph Stinciano graciously allowed us to use his knowledge. And he was with us last time. We recorded this session. He cannot come today, but he'll come next Friday, and we'll continue developing those things. But I'm using today this opportunity to refresh, to recap all the platforms, all the portals, all the structure which we're building here, because really we're building here like a structure for next 10 weeks. So new group has been created. Now I have also created a couple of new polls, and I know that some of you have already participated in those polls, And while I'm talking to the screen, I invite you to look at those questions. So 2 questions have been posted here, and they're very important for our Lunch and Learns dedicated to building packages. One is, have you developed codes for others to use? Or do you want to develop codes such that other people, your colleagues, or anyone can use them? So let's have a look what we're having here. Now, I can actually vote myself. Yes, I have developed complete modules, and actually I have developed executables like nows and biometric systems, facial recognition systems. I developed libraries, many things I have developed back at NRC. So I'll click yes here. But by the way, not in R or Python. So, and so at the moment, we don't have too many people who, I guess, replied, but I'm not sure why it is not showing the results. I see the total number of votes is 7, but okay, I don't know how it works. You know, glitches are all over the place here, and it's okay. The point is that we're really trying to engage you into thinking about making better use of your efforts, of your creativity, of your knowledge. And by the way, not that you the codes which you have written maybe 5 years ago, 5 years, and you know, oh, I've done it 5 years ago, and I had the good codes written there. How would you reuse them? So it's very conceptually, it's to think about your codes as something which has eternal value, and this is how I would like to put it. You develop something of eternal value. It doesn't have to be major. It is not okay. I'll have to dial in over the phone as well because my connection is not good. Unfortunately, I have other family members, actually 4 or 5 of them, who are using computer right now. As we're in COVID time, everyone is working and studying remotely. But I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good right now.
I'll go back.
It was there for a second. Back to status quo of not working now.
Yeah. I see that. Okay. Yeah, попробуйте не использовать интернет, если можете.
We can hear you now.
Okay, I see. Yeah, unfortunately, I got frozen, but I hope you got you got something to do, like you can go to GCCollab polls and maybe contribute your vote to one of those questions. Okay, please let me know if you cannot hear me well. Yeah, I'll have to seek for alternative ways to do it. Okay. Now, I hope you can see my screen. I also voted here as object-oriented programming. I always think when I code something as object-oriented programming as an object. So, and I will tell you why. Okay. Okay. So I will go back to the codes which we would like to convert to a package. And you remember last time we worked with the codes functions which are in this file to read COVID data. I remember. So now you would see the dilemma which we discussed last time is that in many cases you have codes which actually do not belong to one particular project. They are generic utility functions. And here is a good example. Just a function which replaces a value in one column. And Joseph, our colleague who was teaching us packages, showed us how to convert this function into a package. So what it means that we will be having not one package, we will be having two packages or maybe even three packages. And now I will show you how I'm structuring my work. I hope you can see my screen here. So you would see I have created a directory, my packages. Here I have created a package. I started creating a package EVIM. This is acronym for Intelligent Vision Interfaces and much more, which I use for my previous work, and I'm using it now for everything useful. So we talked about the structure of those things, and you would see I have a directory, my codes, and here I can put anything I want. In fact, here I put this code from here. And I will be copying useful stuff from there. Now, you would see that I have RStudio open here, in fact, already. I will show you what I have done, and hopefully it will help you to organize your codes as well. So you would see that I have two packages. I'm developing not one package, I'm developing two packages. So one is called EVIM, which will contain everything of generic nature. And you remember we talked about the structure. The structure is that all codes which will be used for the package will be placed in here. Right? Now, okay, and last time we have created this code with a jaw, and we didn't talk about examples. So examples are very important. So there are two ways of doing examples here. And he talked about that last time. So you could put example right here as I do it, just if false, and provide example. By the way, here you can also describe why you're doing it, because some people are not using data table as much as I do, and they're wondering why not just to use the dplyr select thing. And we'll maybe have a special session on just on that. Why data table should always be considered as #1 helper, and then think of deploy and other things as maybe number 2 or number 3 here. So I'm developing this package evim, and also I'm developing a package called R Canada. So R Canada, that is where I will have my codes for COVID, for ATIP, and this is where I also have file utils. And this is what I think was the key sort of message. If there's any important message coming from the last session with Joseph, at least for myself, it was the following one: that when you have functions of common use, you can put them in a file called utils. You see, utils, and ideally this file eventually will be converted into a package, and then it just like any other package you can be able to call it. But until this happens, you do need to create a function called utils, and you put your functions, generic or utility functions, right here. And you would see that I have also a structure for this. Last year at Lunch and Learns, I talked about the use of this button in here, which is called contents viewing. You see our outline, document outline. So it shows you the structure. And for example, here I have what I'm thinking functions will be some functions for working with data tables. Some functions will be for working with generating more intelligent reports or maybe apps. You know, some functions later will be added for linking, because that's a major part of my work is data linking, fuzzy linking, and all of this will go here in this utils function, utils.r. So this is my main lesson from last time. The functions which you're going to use, but which will not be part of your package, in our case it's R Canada package, will go in utils.r. However, you may also wish just to keep a master copy of it, and I will keep a master copy of it on GCCode, and anyone will be able to use it or do something similar. So you got it. I have 2 packages being developed right now. So let me check if there are any questions at this point. Okay, now also what I started doing, I'm developing a little tutorial for myself and for everyone else called Packages 101. Remember, in fall, we developed a very similar document called GCCode 101, because at that time, back in September, many of us wanted to use GCCode, GitLab functionality, but we didn't know how. And we had Lunch and Learns, those meetups, and gradually, step by step, little by little, we learned how to use GCCode. Again, I can remind everyone where you can find all this information. So it's in this R4GC. We have resources, and in here we have GCCode, and there you will be able to find your GCCode 101. Now I'm building something similar for Packages 101. So I will put this file right there. And you know, as I go through, I have plenty of questions, which I'm preparing in a list for Joe when he is back next week. Because what I found, there are many resources, very good tutorial, actually maybe too good at this level, because it has too much information from Hadley Wickham. And when I start building it myself, I found there are many opportunities to go one way or the other. So I will be developing this Packages 101 file. You will see it in half an hour. You will see it in RG, this GCCode repository. And here I'm going through all the steps of building those things. So, for example, I will also paste the actual output which is produced, because there are questions sometimes, do you want to do this or do you want to do that? And what does it mean? And then examples, of course, how do you develop examples? And where I am right now, how you actually name your variables? How do you organize your variables like function within a function or parallel functions? Because now let's get back to COVID code, which we used for this project. Remember, there were a couple of global variables. Global variables like I call these columns, cases, columns, geolocation. So to me, it seems like this is definitely, it's a good use case object. Okay, yeah, unfortunately I was disconnected again. This is a time of COVID. Sorry, but again, I hope there is enough information, possibly more than enough at this time for everyone. And we'll get back to that, and I will experiment. Maybe next time I will be doing from my phone, going through the satellite instead of Wi-Fi, because Wi-Fi is definitely seems like not the best quality. But if you have any questions right now on what we're building or how we're going to proceed, maybe that's good time to ask those questions right now. Okay, let me just check the chat. Okay. All right. Now, one thing which you may wish to know is that you can create a package structure right from here by going new project, new directory, and you say R package, and you would develop, and this is what I was doing. Like you can say a test number 2, and it will create a package. So it's very useful to know it. But again, it's good also to know what is actually created every time you do this. So now it's 10 minutes past 12. I would love now to get feedback from you, because I'm not sure whether you can hear me well at this point. So I will keep this screen open for time being. You would see the 2 packages which I am developing right now, EVM and R Canada. You would see that I have created my codes directory and also my dataset. This directory will not be used into compilation of the package, because I have included them in this build ignore. Actually, I will include it in this file. So time for you to ask questions or provide some feedback.
Dmitry, this is Mirez.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mirez Samali. I'm a senior scientist at the Meteorological Service of Canada, Environment Canada. Dmitry, I love the example that you showed for the GC codes. You know, the examples of the package that were developed, and if I understood well, you developed a package that analyzes the PSES, the Public Servant Employee Survey.
Okay.
I know that kind of data because I'm also part of the MSc mental health team. So we look at those data to see how, for example, harassment, how discrimination evolved through the years. So I would be interested to see the visual aspect of it. What is the outcome of
Okay.
that
So
package?
we talked a lot about this last year, but for those people who were not last year, I'll show you a link. Can you see it on my screen?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's called iTrack, shinyapps.io/PSES.
Okay. Could you share it in the chat?
I will also
please?
share it. That's right. I will also share it in. So you can see it on my screen right now. This is how the app works right now. So you can select, for example, what is important. Of course, when you analyze the data, is a relative performance.
Yeah.
It's how one group is different from the other group, even within the same organization, because you cannot compare oranges to apples. Like you cannot compare, let's say, NRC to RCMP. You know, like these are two different beasts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, and the same even within CBSA. Like, for example, what is very important that you should be able to compare within even your agency, like Canada Border Services Agency, because we have regions, you know, in the field, you know, people with a uniform and guns. You know, you cannot compare their, of course, environment with environment of people sitting in downtown Ottawa, who are headquarters. And so here, for example, for question, you know, like my department or agency does a good job supporting employee, and you would see this is so this is fully interactive, and it allows you to go deeper and deeper into each org chart level.
Okay.
So within Canada Border Services, you can go now to headquarters. For example, you see, by the way, the difference between regions and let's say headquarters. Yeah, of course, you know, regions, we understand it's more challenging work. But, you know, there are many questions like in general, I would recommend, or let's not maybe take this one, you know, I'm satisfied with my agency or with my agency. So, so essentially you would be able to have, yeah, you know, like, for example, harassment, like there are questions. So again, this work has been done 2 years ago, but you see the link here. I will provide the link here as well. So, and by the way, the codes have been also shared. In GitHub.
Okay.
In GitHub. I will find it for you. So, but you can play with the URL which I have provided.
Have you updated it with the latest survey data that was released?
No, and that's actually one of the reasons we're developing this package, because I've done this work myself in 2019 with results from 2018.
18, okay.
And every year the questions are slightly different. You know,
yes. Yes, absolutely.
Even the numbers are different.
Yeah.
The titles are slightly different. So and again, it seems like I have to do it again. If I had to do it, it seems like I will have to do it again. Now, what I was thinking instead, that why not to develop a package which just actually will automatically take this PSES result. You know, by the way, if you see our GCCollab group, GCCollab, where is our GCCollab? Okay, GCCollab. Okay. GCCollab. Yeah. So actually, the banner for this group, you see the banner. It's actually taken from this. It's taken from this public service employee survey app. Now, I do invite you just to play with it yourself, because you will see it's I found it's probably the most intuitive and the most automated, because you do need to see to be able to pinpoint to the year or to the section, to the division where something is maybe good or maybe is not as good, because you can never generalize for the agency or even for the branch. You know, if there are some issues and people are in stress or really very negative in their answers, it does not talk about the agency. It's very important to understand, and I have experienced that myself. It has to do with that particular directorate where perhaps something is not as good. So I will show you another link which was specifically developed for the directorate where I used to work, because this one was tracking the performance for all those critical questions over years. Because what was very interesting, and I can share the link here as well in the chat. What was interesting that you will see culture or happiness, you know, we are all contributing to it in one way or the other. And we have people coming and going, and some people contributing to better environment, and some people contributing to, let's say, less happier environment. So I don't want to go too much into that, but you would see that when I build this tracking, I call it iTrack, for my directorate. And then on questions, on some critical questions like about senior management, about level of happiness, you would see that something has happened. This is in blue line. In blue line, in 2011, our directorate was even above public service average, much way above. And something has happened in this time frame when our directorate, let's say specifically senior managers, question, changes have happened. And I don't want to go into that because the agency is quite aware of this. And I can tell you from my own experience in 2021, again, it's very important to say, the agency is doing, I think, outstanding work in getting those curves, those metrics back to where they were. Because this is an eye-opener, because when you look at overall, my department treats me with respect, or I would recommend my agency as a great place to work, you would see that, let's say, science and engineering directorate, where I used to work, it was above public average 10 years ago. And then again, not me to comment here, I have to be very, very careful, we're keeping it scientific here, but the science shows specifically that something has happened in this time frame, specifically, that most people, more than majority, would not recommend this specific place as a great place to work. And then we also found the correlation, the highest correlation between the answer to this question is with which question? You probably guess which one. Can you guess the correlation? Which correlation is the highest between which questions? So I would recommend my department as a great place to work. And which are the questions? What do you think is the highest correlation? Can you guess, Mares?
The voice was cut sometimes, so I didn't really follow what you said, Dmitry. Sorry for that. But I think this is a very good tool to measure how the organization, any given organization within, in terms of any aspects, you know, in terms of happiness, like you said, in terms of, as I said, harassment, discrimination. So we did the same analysis for MSC, Meteorological Service of Canada, and also, as you did, we compared it with the department, and we saw that there are some aspects where MSC was doing better than the department, and there are some other aspects where MSC was doing less better than the department. So I think that this analysis, where we look at the temporal changes through the years of a given metric, of a given question, it's a good tool. It's a good tool to see how the organization is doing.
Indeed. You know, one thing which I found a little surprising, especially for data scientists, we have all this data open, data for every year, for every department, and never, ever I've seen any reports which track results, you know, like over time, or horizontally or vertically. Vertically, like over the same, you know, over the same, let's say, org chart. Because again, as mentioned, even within the same organization, you may have some branches very good.
Yeah.
So and I know these similar tools have been already developed in Power BI, but I have not seen Power BI or Tableau. But I have not seen anyone yet. But by the way, Maris, which department again? I will try to find your department. What is it called?
Environment and Climate Change Canada.
Environment, climate change, and environment. Yeah, I think. And yeah, so in fact, you see your results right here on a screen, right?
Yeah.
And you would see this is public service average.
Yeah.
And you would see quite a variation, right?
Yeah.
You see, like for example, you see that Meteorological Service Canada is in your agency is the worst. And then, of course, you can, but I mean, it's not the worst compared to some other agencies, because when you go to, let's say, CBSA, you would see that most of them are, you know, on the left side of the spectrum. But you can go deeper into these meteorological services and see what is there. And there you see, okay, it's pretty much consistent. Yeah. It's not, you know, when you have, let's say, the same director for all of them, it should be consistent. Because my question, which you could not hear, was the highest correlation between the overall level of satisfaction is with my trust in senior management and my senior management. So senior management question about so I found the highest correlation, more than 90%, in changes, is in senior management questions. It's very interesting because senior management, you know, they do their best, but they may not have full understanding on how their actions, what are the consequences of their, what they believe are good actions, but in fact, they could be not the best actions. Yeah. So, but scientifically speaking, data science shows that overall, you know, if I would recommend my department as a great place to work. And you'll now look at, let's say, senior management. I have confidence. I have confidence in senior management. So questions about confidence in senior management are the most correlated with overall level of happiness.
Yeah.
This is very interesting observation scientifically. Again, it's very objective. I have nothing to add from, you know, myself. You just go through all those questions and you build the correlation matrix, and you see it's like over 90% correlation. And then you give it to your culture folks or to your your employee assistant program folks, and you try to communicate it to your high management. Maybe change something. Maybe indeed look into it as not as offense against you personally, but as an opportunity for improvement of some your managerial styles. And I'm sure CBSA, since 2018, when we have analyzed, CBSA, I'm sure have improved in all those questions. So, and I think this is a good example on why it is important to develop a package. So anyone can use it. And you will just include a year. It will open it.
Yeah.
And then you can build it for your own department or for your own division, or maybe compare it over time. So, and again, this is why we live in 21st century, not 20th century. Data science is here to automate the process. It's here to, it's like artificial intelligence, which will automatically detect opportunities for improvement. And in fact, when I was building it, I even built a menu here, apply AI. Because the algorithm is very simple. It goes through your organization and checks which group in which question is the outlier. And statistically speaking, we know very well what is outlier. It's average, mathematical expectation plus minus deviation. And outlier is plus minus 2 deviations. It's like less than, essentially in statistical sense, it is a huge outlier. And you don't need to be a rocket scientist to build this type of artificial intelligence. And I think with your contributions, for anyone who is interested, we can build a function which will open PSES result, and it will run a function, detect or find opportunities for improvement. And it will go through all org chart and see this is outlier in this question, this is outlier in this question, and this is correlation. Correlation, for example, harassment correlates with the maybe with employment opportunities, or again, if not senior management, maybe with some Phoenix things. So it's up to you to reuse the package the way you want. So
I think this is a great opportunity, Dmitry. So I may contact you offline to get more feedback about it. So thank you very much.
So anyway, we are now quite a few minutes. Quite a few minutes now. Here comes the flat, he comes grooving and slowly. He got to eyeball, he got roller coaster, he got head down to his knees. Got to be good jockey, he just know to please come together right now over me. Yeah, so I wanted to play, a song, but I didn't have time to practice it anyway much. So, but if anyone is interested to, to do a little more musical jamming, let me know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll continue next week with Joseph. And maybe, by the way, find the song yourself, send me in advance, and we'll make a hit out of it. Head down to his knees. Got to be good looking, hard to thought he please. Come together right over me. He I can tell you is you got to be free. Come together right now over me. He went no shushan, he got Toma, he got one, he got his set, Coca-Cola, he said. You see, I'm looking at the lyrics here. So anyway, you see, I'm releasing my energy. It's a lot of effort here, and this song is one of those which gives me opportunity to burst in energy whenever I need. Thank you very much, everyone. Send me your questions, proposals, ideas for anything. So I'll see you next Friday.
Perfect. See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.